Yeah. 7:01 p.m. Boy, you can't tell us nothing now.
They still ain't going live on the IG thing.
Hey,
No, there
yeah,
you go. There you go.
yeah,
We
we
good.
here. Yeah, you ain't gonna be able to tell us nothing now.
We good. We good.
Yeah, yeah. We up on. Let me check some. Make sure we up on all the little stuff that we supposed to be on.
Yeah, let me see.
Yeah, yeah, we good.
Trying to get
We
to the
You trying to get to what?
where we can see the comments.
Be on. Yeah, yeah, we good. We good. All right, we got a couple people watching.
What you looking on?
I just, the all the Facebook, IG real quick. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that we was live. We live. We where we supposed to be. When we supposed to be. And we here on time too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the important part. That
All
we
right. We
here on
good.
time.
We good now. Now we good on IG too.
Okay.
Yeah, we
What's
good. We
what's
good
going
on.
on Facebook? What's going on IG?
How y'all feeling out there?
Alafia. What's happening? Good afternoon. Agbo Ato, sorry, Oriole Food. What up, though?
All of that, huh?
All of that. All of
All of
that.
that, man.
What's going on, good brother?
Man, same old, same old. all work, no play, man.
I know that's right. What's going on, Ia? We appreciate you for tapping in with it. Same old, same old. You see how I had to steal your introduction because I seen on one of your videos. You hit everybody with all the different salutations for no matter what their geographic or racial makeup may be. You
Right.
covered all the bases. I said, I like that. I'm going to have to steal that. So just shout out for you. You know, man, what's going on?
Man, you know, the most significant thing that's probably going on right now, the riots in LA. That's probably one of the most poignant things that's going on right now. You know, Donald Trump and his people and
Right.
ICE have been conducting raids. From what I heard, they've also been conducting some raids here in Texas. So I heard somebody get on TikTok and say that they were on Braeswood out there on the southwest side, also conducting raids. So she was telling people to be careful out here as well. So what do you think about the riots right now? What do you think about it, both spiritually and politically?
So Ifa says that Suru or patience is the father of good character.
Hmm.
I don't know if I said it out loud or if it was just a thought. But like a month or so ago, I was thinking to myself, like, man, I don't really see ICE really cracking down around here. There's a lot of Hispanics out here and everybody living their best life. So I was like, ICE must have bypassed Houston. Interesting enough, my son's T-ball coach actually got picked up
Oh
by
wow.
ICE. Yeah, we actually he had a game that was scheduled and it got canceled because he had got picked up.
Hmm.
Um, I go out to sorry with Foon, Willie Anderson. Hello, was a Veve embroidery queen. I need me one of them Veve.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. She on
Yeah,
our
she
TikTok.
on TikTok. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. We
I
need
need
that.
one of them.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
need to get up with you.
for sure, for sure. Um, but yeah, so he got picked up, and so I guess it's cracking down. We're not having riots and stuff like that here in Houston like they're doing in LA. But you know, I always gotta double check with people that I know when I see stuff, because you know, we in this AI world, they can make up anything. But I had to tap in with some people who, you know, are in LA, and they said, "Oh yeah, it's really going on like that. Like it's going
Abarto
fast."
Ashuri Werewolf. I am living third eye. Thank you for checking in with us.
So this is how I look at it. Now, for those of you who really been rocking with us, you will know we did. It was a live, right? That we did about the reading of Donald Trump presidency. That we did the reading for.
I don't think so.
It's either a live or an episode.
Yeah. It was an episode, definitely.
Oh, okay. So it's out there. So you can go check out, you know, about our reading about Donald Trump's presidency. In that, it talked about all the chaos that was coming. And it talked about the solution to the chaos being unity. Mm-hmm. Right? And so what I peeped is whenever whatever group has their thing going on, only that group normally is all riled up about it. And everybody else who doesn't consider themselves a part of that group, or who are not a part of that group, they don't say anything. They be quiet about it, right? And so when it's your turn, everybody else be quiet about whatever your gripe is, and you got to go at it alone. Kind of similar to when Europeans went to Africa and they start snatching up people in the village, and the different tribe from up the street said, "Oh, they snatching up them people, but that's not us." Okay, they're gonna have to figure it out. And then a week later, they was at your village snatching you up. And so we got to come in unity. Now, I don't know if during the George Floyd, you know, protests, or Rodney King going back there, or whatever, if in LA, if Hispanics was out there marching, fighting, protesting, whatever, side by side with Black folks. But when I look at the video now, I don't see nothing but Mexicans or Hispanics. I don't know if they're Mexican or whatever they are. So it seemed like everybody's still in that we all in our own type of time. Mm-hmm. And that ain't the way to win. You know, and we said that, we called that out in our reading that we did, and we talked about it here on our YouTube page.
But what's the win though? What is it that you feel like we would be fighting against, or what would be the end goal?
So here's the thing.
In this specific thing.
Right, and that's a great question. So it depends on from whose perspective you're talking about. Are you talking about from the people? Because the win from the people would be for us to unify together to fight, quote unquote, the powers that be, who are essentially only operating for their own, out of their own benefit. Right? Now, I do also understand, though, it kind of gets nuanced, because you can't fight for everybody for every issue. Because there's some things that's a little crazy. You know, and we said it before, I think there are some people who are attaching themselves to the LGBT community who really on some nonsense. Right?
Right.
And they attaching themselves to that community. Well, we can't just fight for all of that, right? Like it really got to be some meeting of the minds, and we gotta figure it out. Like some things ain't cool.
But we're talking about this very specific thing, like
just with the ICE thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think first it comes from a place of understanding, because I see a lot of videos where people are saying, "Yeah, you ain't coming here the right way, so you got to go, you got to leave," right? I think that is that lacks empathy, you know, for the lack of a better word, because you're not in their place, you're not in their shoes, you don't understand what it is that they escaped from to get over here. I think the win would be in this very specific case is we all fight on the side of the immigrants to stop them from just arbitrarily being snatched up and sent over to countries that they probably haven't been to in decades. Stop them from separating families. I don't think that's the answer. I don't think it's just you're illegal, you gotta go. What do you think?
So I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Okay.
When I committed my crimes and was found guilty, pled guilty, copped out, however I got my sentence, and I went to prison, was that not separating me from my family?
It was separating you from your family.
So now the reason I throw that out there though is because you use the word empathy. And
this is what I'm gonna say though about that. I don't think all quote unquote crime is created equal. Because there was a time it was a crime for you to just, as a slave, to just leave a plantation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you
I agree.
Did.
So again, I'm playing devil's advocate. I think the world community has agreed that borders are real and that you just can't cross them when you want to. I think that's something that the world community has agreed on, because you just can't go to Canada. You can't just go to Mexico.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can't just cross any other country's border without some kind of repercussion. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate, and I'm trying to remove because you used the word empathy, and I'm trying to remove that from it and operate from a purely logical perspective, removing the emotion of empathy and basing it on, like our Luo says, in many ways we've agreed on, like Baba says, we live on this grid. So we've agreed subconsciously that our year begins January 1, just for an example. As a world community, we have agreed that borders are real and that you can't just cross borders when you want to, that's a crime. And when we commit crimes, when I committed my crime, I knew that there was a possibility that I could be separated from my family. It was a possibility that I could just be picked up in traffic, pulled over for not putting my blinker on, and being taken to jail and eventually taken to prison. So I'm trying to come at it from, now keep in mind, now somebody is gonna get on this episode and say, or somebody's gonna get on this live and say something about what I'm talking about, and I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. This has nothing to do with what I believe or what I personally think. I'm just playing devil's advocate and trying to look at it from a more purely logical and legal in our contemporary sense from that perspective.
So you said the world community has come to that conclusion. Excuse me. I say the world community has definitely come to the conclusion that if you're on a street and you see a red octagon, that means you stop. I don't know that the world community has come to the conclusion about these borders. I think it's just something that if it doesn't affect you personally, you just really don't get involved in. Like, I am a U.S. citizen. I don't really ever think about that thing, about the borders, about these borders and me not being able to go here and go there, right?
But you can't though.
Right, but I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. I don't think the world community agreed to that. I think those in power at the highest levels of government have come to that agreement. But we haven't, and then even then, you still have places like in Gaza where there's still some dispute over whose land is that and things of that nature, right? So I don't think the world community has, unless you're calling the government powers the world community.
So what I'm basically saying is that, to my knowledge, there is no country that you can just go to. There's no country like that that exists on the planet, to my knowledge, that you can just go to.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean by
Gotcha.
the
I would agree
that the world has agreed that you can't just come into my country regardless of where I exist, and that includes Mexico and the countries in South America. Right now, because my wife and I was thinking about going to Brazil. You can't even go to Brazil now without presenting banking information and all of those things, just in case for some odd reason you get stuck down there. The government of Brazil wants to know that you are able to take care of yourself. So what I mean by the world community is that there are no borders, no autonomous country borders that you can cross where it wouldn't be illegal. It's illegal everywhere.
All right.
So we got a question. It says, "I am living third eye. How will unity benefit the people?"
Unity will stop the people from being able to be taken advantage of. See, the way that the powers that be are able to stay in power is because the citizens of whatever community haven't come together and said, this is what we're gonna do and this is what we ain't gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's easy to do it, right? See, as long as I have people who, like with DEI and affirmative action, as long as I have white people who feel like you are taking something from me, then it makes it hard for programs like that are developed in order to maintain some kind of balance or to kind of undo racism so that, you know, Black people or in other races for that matter now are able to compete for a job and things of that nature, right? So as long as there's the thought that, hey, it's taking something away from you, then those people are going to help fight against that. So that's what the thing with unity. Like even with us going into Haitian voodoo and like really studying the history of Haiti, like the way to think, the reason why the it took so long for them to gain independence once they started fighting, because you had three very distinct groups who had different desires, needs, ideas. And sometimes two of the groups will go against one of the other groups. But never did you have all three of them on the same side at the same time.
Right.
You know, even when Louverture wanted, he had a vision of white people, Black people, and the colors, the mixed folks, all living together in harmony.
Right.
Even in then, they still couldn't come to an agreement. Right? And so that's the reason, that's how we weaken ourselves. So we could be taken advantage of.
You say white people, I say some fear unity because it means redistribution of power, fairness in taxes, and accountability. I think going back to the unity thing and using a smaller scale example, and regardless of what you think about how you feel about unions, that is a prime example of people coming together and saying that we're going to use our unity to bargain with these major corporations. I'm a part of a union, and I'm starting to get into the politics of the union, and I understand it from both sides. So even though I'm a part of a union, it's not like you know, I'm biased in any way. I understand the conservative position against unions. I understand it, but I also understand the liberal side of why it's beneficial for unions to exist. Uh, I think this uh, when you say classes of people, what are you meaning? Are you talking about races of people, or they say unity matters because of classes of people? Because of classes of people. And I think again too, unity. A lot of people think about the military,
Mm-hmm.
the military. Like, what if the military really wanted to come through Texas uh, or any other state for that matter, they could just blow it off the map if they wanted to. I don't think they would, but I think they could. I think the possibility is there, and I think even that possibility keeps people from uniting. I believe it is fear. People are scared to die. People are scared to lose their jobs. People are scared to lose the things that they've gotten in this system, so they're not fully against all of the things of the system, whether they be good, bad, or indifferent.
But see, the thing about the losing your job, right? If everybody at the job came together and said, "Now we ain't going for it," they gonna win.
Right, that's the power of the union.
But here's the thing, though. This is why. Well, no, I ain't talking about no union.
Hey, Leah.
Not a union. Hey, what's going on, Leah? Not a union. Just a regular people, a non-union shop. If the people didn't like what was going on and they all said, "Hey, we just gonna leave," right? The people will win. This is why you don't win, because the people at the top understand greed. So they gonna come and they gonna tell some people like, "Hey, if you break away, we're gonna give you some extra money."
Right.
Then people gonna be like, "Wait a minute, what you mean by extra money?"
Right.
Let me give you $5 an hour extra. Hey, yeah, you know what, man? I feel y'all with this whole what y'all was trying to do, but man, I'm gonna go ahead and go back to work.
Right.
And then that's how you gonna get in that break. But if everybody's held pat, like, "Nah, I ain't going," then you're gonna win. But you're gonna have greed, you're gonna have fear, anxiety, all of these different things gonna kick in, and then people gonna get away from it.
And that's the history of human nature, though. That's the history of human nature.
Right.
And it
Absolutely.
never happens like that. Like it never happens. I mean, even with a small number of people, it never happens where everybody gets on the same page and say, we're no longer going to take this and we're going to do something about it as a collective. Never.
Right.
Yeah.
But if we go back to the reading that we did of Donald Trump's presidency, we don't have a choice. Either we gonna come together or we gonna continue to lose. So pick your heart.
Right. I say she, but I mean the demographics, the poor, the middle class, the rich. Those are the classes that they were referring to.
I don't think America really has a class system. I think we so stuck on race that we don't have that. Now, in pretty much all the other countries I've been to, they had a class system.
Right.
But here, it's all about race, right? So no matter what class you were in, or no matter what your money is, it's gonna come down to race first.
I agree.
And this is why America is so nuanced, right? And so complex, because that race thing, most of us hasn't figured out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. So the race dynamic is a very nuanced dynamic, and it has kept America the way it is for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see that changing anytime soon.
And I think it's I don't want to say easy because easy sounds like like I've been able to do it or something. But I think we still live in a country where you can be poor today and rich in a month.
Yeah.
We live in so there's too much uh possibility for upward mobility for there to really exist class like we're talking about it, like if we're using it
Mm-hmm.
in a strictest sense. That's why I agree with you that it can't really exist here, because we live in a society where you can be in one class today and in
Right.
another one tomorrow, and it's not there's not so in other places where there is truly a class system. I think
Right.
so.
And that's
They
why we're
say
not
they
going to
say
have unity.
humanity over race. Now we're getting into ideals, and in an ideal world, uh, that would be perfect. Even coming from the perspective of E5, some people might disagree, but I feel like when Ifa talks about the good condition or the good position, that it talks about us as a collective, not separating us from whether you want to call it class or race. It's talking about all of us. Ifa
Yeah.
basically says, at least from my perspective, Ifa basically says that nobody is crossing the finish line before anybody else if we're talking about the big picture of going into the spirit world and not having to come back here again. Then we're talking about perfection. Basically, we're talking about perfection
Yeah.
in humanity as a whole.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things I remember reading from Machiavelli in The Prince, uh, he talked a lot about idealism and how idealism is the downfall of a lot of people, because we focus on how things should be and not how things are. You have to respond to how things are and not focus on how things should be.
Yeah. I agree. To me, that sounds like a pop the key out of Torah Palm Measure. You know what I'm saying? But here's the thing though. The thing that you mentioned about how you could be poor one day and in a month you could be rich is why we don't have unity.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can get it like that. Man, you go to these other countries where, man, listen, you could be perfect and 6 months later, you gonna have maybe $1 more than you had 6 months before.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so this idea of like not having the ability to far outpace the people around you, especially in a short period of time, right, makes it to where everybody are kind of on the same page and are
Mm-hmm.
more likely to be unified, right? More likely to work together. And I think I'm telling you, America is a thing that it's like once you come into the atmosphere of America, you start to change. Like I would hear people say things like, "Man, you can't do business with Asians, man. I'm telling you, the Asians they be this and the other." And then I go to South Korea, and they are the greatest people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But some of them people, boy, once they coming at American, that U.S. airspace, boy, something happens, and they get crazy.
Right.
But what's going on in LA is crazy, and it's a political thing too. It's a way of playing politics. That's why I don't think there's a real interest to end it anytime soon. Trump just he sent 2,000 troops, then he sent another 2,000 troops. Then he had like 700 Marines. Um, and I don't know. I have my own hangups when it comes to the Marine. I don't know. I knew I couldn't be in the military.
Right.
I couldn't have been given orders to go to LA and operate in that and deal in that. I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't be sent to Afghanistan to fight a war against people like who just trying to live.
Mm.
People who for real hate us because we have either tried to or have been successful in exploiting them.
Right.
My conscience wouldn't allow me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't. And so anytime I see that, that we deploy X number to, I just be thinking like, how do y'all do it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how do y'all do it? I don't know. Again, no judgment. I understand we all got our own thing, but that's just something I don't know.
Right.
But you want to get into the topic at hand?
Yeah, man. We don't want to spend all of our time talking about politics and the things going on in LA. We know those things are important, and that was one of the things that we promised when we started this podcast, that we were going to talk about the issues of the time. So we wanted to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
But this episode, this live, is about this June ibori, and about ibori in general. It's about ibori in general, and what that means. You may hear terms like head cleansing, head rogations, feeding your ori. You hear all of those terms, and they all basically mean the same thing. If we're not splitting hairs and getting into semantics, they pretty much mean the same thing. It's not just a cleansing of the head, but it's a feeding the head as well, for the purposes of alignment, for the purposes of doing away with confusion, for the purposes of us being able to fully see our purpose and destiny along the roads that we travel. And Ifais believe that you chose your destiny, your life work, your purpose while you were still in the spirit realm. And in Ifa mythology, when you are right before you were born, you walk under what some Portuguese call the tree of forgetfulness. And as we come through the birth canal, we forget the destiny that we chose. We forget why we came here. And it's believed in Ifa that it is through divination that we find out, that we remember what our purpose and destiny is. But the ibori is a way for us to be able to find alignment with that destiny. Even if we don't know what our destiny is, Ifa says if you don't know what your destiny is, then just find yourself in good character. And if you find yourself in good character, then you are moving toward your destiny. So yeah, this ibori, or the iboris that we're starting to do now, is for that purpose. For me, it was told to me that I'm supposed to be doing iboris regularly, that I'm supposed to be covering my head regularly. So this is one way for me specifically to get that in, and to be able to do it with my brother and the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Myself as well. For me, it's iboris and spiritual baths from the time I got my Ishe file. And one of the things that we realize is that we are terrible at doing iboris. and what I mean by we're terrible at doing it is we are terrible to obeying the message that comes in our Odu, and for us as individuals to do it on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. It really wasn't until we decided to offer to the community that we got into a regular rhythm of even doing it for ourselves.
Right.
We probably did more iboris for other people than we did for ourselves. And so it is actually helping us to come into our practice and be more consistent with it. Right. But, ibori is like working out, right? You're not... I know it's one of them things when people go to the gym and they start working out, and when they get done, like day one, they take their shirt off and they start posing, see if they got a muscle or two that pop out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not knocking it. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever you got to do to feel good, but you ain't got no muscles.
Right. No new muscles. No new.
No. Whatever you think you saw, you already had. Right. And so what we do by the ibori is something that we have to continuously work. It's a muscle. Like I did a video talking about the one that we're having this Sunday June 15th. So I talked about that, and I was saying where I had that day or that week, I had just got back into the gym for the first time in like 2 weeks, and I was sore all over again. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get the same number of reps as I was getting just 2 weeks ago. I wasn't putting up the same weight just 2 weeks ago, because if you don't use it, you lose it. So basically, most of us have just been walking around raw dogging life.
On Father's Day. I just thought about that today.
Oh, really?
Right. Yeah. Somebody in the chat just said on Father's Day. I just realized maybe an hour ago that it is going to be on Father's Day.
See, that just goes to show you how ain't no love for Father's Day, because I ain't seen not one
commercial.
I've been to the grocery store. I ain't seen no displays for Father's Day. Nothing, man.
Right.
America is trifling. So, but yeah, on Father's Day, we're going to be working, feeding our orees, right? Because we understand as aborigines, we understand as priests of Ifa, that the most important connection is the connection between your ori and your pottery. We know about how important that is. The only way you can strengthen that is by feeding your ori. And that's something that you do on a continuous and constant basis. And it's also a beautiful thing that when we get people together in a group and we all feed our ori, there's a part of it in there where we're all on camera. There's a part on there where we tell you, okay, now's your turn to pray. You turn off your camera and then you just go in. You have a group of people at the same time praying. Showing, building that relationship. It's a beautiful thing, a very beautiful experience.
It is. And it's not as tedious either. Like, it doesn't seem, when you do it by yourself, it's like, you kind of going through the motions, trying to get it over with. But when we all doing it together, it's like, there's something else there. The Rosicrucians talked a lot about what they call the egregore. I ain't gonna go into all of that, but it's like it's basically like what we call Ashe, and how we get initiated into different lineages and how we become a part of that lineage's Ashe or spiritual power. It's basically like that. That's really simplified, but it's basically like that. And they talk about how like our Falakun talks about, many of us coming together, praying, and really changing the fabric of reality, really taking our intentions out into the universe and attracting the things that we want to attract to ourselves. So yeah, that's a beautiful thing. We had my first time being present on the ibori. I did a video and we had someone respond in a way that maybe on TikTok that respond. I mean, I don't know what was meant by.
You know what was meant by it.
I know, but I'm trying to, be diplomatic. I want to say that I don't know what was meant by the emojis that was sent, but I know how I took it. And I want it to be understood that we are not doing virtual iboris for people, that we are not doing these rituals at a distance, that we are not performing a ritual for which, under normal circumstances, your head would have to be present for us to be able to feed your head. But what we are doing is we are guiding and leading people through the process of the ibori so that they can do it for themselves. But join us in a community and we can all do it together. We can all do it together.
Absolutely. So let me go in a little bit more what he's saying. Right. Because I think because some people still not quite connect with what you're saying. What we do is once you register, which is send us an email, send us a DM saying, hey, I want to join and be a part of this ibori. And then you pay the $16. Then we send you over a list of instructions. In those instructions includes how do you prepare for the ibori. Then we tell you what items we will be using. So on the day that we do the ibori, whatever those items that we're using to feed our heads, you will actually have them with you. So as we are doing the prayers, doing the chants, and then start the actual process of feeding the ibori, you will take that item and you will put it to your head and other emotions as we lead you through that. So it's not like I have a glass of cool water and I'm saying everybody put their head up to the screen and then I have the cool water. You don't have no cool water and I'm just going through things, right? You're going to actually do it to yourself, but we are going to lead you through that, right? And so it's an idea that we came up with, but we know that nobody was doing it because the typical way to do it is, you know, you would go to somebody's house, you're going to be paying a hell of a lot more than $16, but it would be a one-on-one type of situation. The priest would put the things on your head and go through the process, and you would be done. You would go home. Here, you are in the comfort of your own home, but you're able to join your virtual family. We come together as a group, and we're able to do this. How many items will we need? Really, it just depends. We usually use about 5 items. And 4 of those items are usually pretty static. Same thing every time. And then one of those things will change out, just depending on how we feel.
We get some reviews. I am living third. I say I joined the last virtual ibori. It was an amazing experience. I slept like a baby, had an amazing dream. I woke up the next morning with more clarity and focus. Thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again. And then they say it's guided ibori by 2 guys who just happen to be priests.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, everybody not gonna get that. Some of y'all gonna sleep terrible. I'm just gonna be honest.
Right.
Half the time, I'm gonna be honest. Half the time, I sleep terrible. But also, you know, I do certain plant medicines, and I always I vomit or diarrhea. I do that type of thing. I'm always having that type of reaction, right? Does that mean that I shouldn't do that, or does that mean I had a negative experience? No, it just means I needed to purge. There's some things in me that I'm holding on tight, and I don't want to give it back to the universe. And the plant medicine, once I take it, says, "Oh, yeah, let's get rid of this." Right, and then I have that experience.
Exactly, right? It's a release.
Yes, you're going to have whatever experience that you need to have. This is why we offer it once a month. So again, you keep strengthening that connection. And as you strengthen that connection, you may feel your intuition strengthening, right? You may feel like, you know, you were in a space where you keep everything that could go wrong did. You kept bumping your head on different things. And now you're feeling things are a little smoother, right? You may feel like, you know, you're coming out of that depression after doing it, you know, a few months. You may find that, you know, you're not dealing with anxiety the way you did. You know, you don't have the same kind of mental fog or confusion, you know. So but that's going to change from person to person depending upon your unique situation, right? Because we are all different. We all have different odus, whether you know what it is or not. All right, we all have different experiences, whether, you know, you're familiar with the next person's experience or not. You know, and so this helps us through life. Just like you do yoga long enough, you're gonna be flexible. You know what I'm saying? Your breathing is gonna be different. You're gonna be stronger. You go to the gym long enough, you're gonna be stronger. You know, ideally, if you're eating right along to go to the gym, you're gonna be looking better. The whole 9. Same difference with the ibori. I promise you, more than likely, you are not going to do an ibori and the next day come up with the winning lottery numbers. We are not selling that. If you do have that experience, though, please give us a review and let everybody know. Like, yo, that ibori was giving out winning lottery numbers.
All right, that's all we need. We don't need no money or nothing. Just...
Well, whoa. We always open for a love offer. If you hit like 200 million, you know what I'm saying? Bless us.
Oh man, you trying to skim off the top now, man. You trying to?
I ain't trying to skim off the top. Let me skim off the bottom. You get 200 million. You know what I'm saying? The shoot is fire to split.
Right.
So yeah. Now you may have an experience of something that is unexplainable. That can happen. I'm just saying, don't expect necessarily the next day that, you know, you're gonna be chilling at the house and Publishers Clearinghouse gonna come knocking your door with that big old check for $200,000.
You know, you talked about the purging, and I think we do ourselves a disservice when we try to disconnect the physical from the spiritual. They are so connected, and everything that happens means something. If you sleep that night, if you sleep terrible that night, if you sleep like a baby that night, if you can't sleep at all that night, all of those things mean something. And like Fafore just said, it's about building that connection. It's the same way you have to build a connection with the Orisha. You're not just given a pot and things get to working for you immediately. There's a relationship that you have to build with that energy. It's a relationship that you have to build. And one of the reasons you talked about intuition, that your intuition could be heightened. And one of the things that goes unnoticed sometimes is that the offerings that we're making them to the part of ourselves that holds the intuition. So it necessarily becomes more heightened. And my thoughts about intuition, right, or one of the thoughts is that intuition to me is a quantum leap from the subconscious mind to the conscious mind. It's not how some people make it seem as if you are just like all of a sudden you've come up with the answer. You've always known the answer because your subconscious mind is connected to the universal or cosmic consciousness that knows all things. And so when I was studying Rosicrucianism, they talked about intuition in a way that we could go into meditation, ask questions, and then leave it alone. And once we ask our question, that question goes to the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind starts to look for an answer, or starts to develop an answer. And if your intuition is heightened, that answer will make that quantum leap to the conscious mind, and one day you'll just go, "Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking about." And it goes, for me at least, it goes that way. So part of this ibori is about that. Is about heightening your intuition, strengthening your connection to yourself, bringing everything into alignment so that we can find ourselves on the path that leads to the manifestation of our destiny.
So let me break down what he said for all the C students.
Someone asked, does the answers possibly come in your dreams? Yes. And dreams are a funny thing to me because from my beliefs anyway, I don't feel like I can interpret your dreams or you can interpret mine. I feel like our subconscious mind is speaking to us in a language that we know. It's almost speaking to us in a coded language. Now, of course, there are going to be some cultural things that have their own definition or symbology, but I think that that's something that we have to ask ourselves too about our dreams. But answers definitely come in dreams.
Mm-hmm. So the thing about the intuition, for the C students, let me break that down. And I don't say that to be in any way, disrespectful.
Disparaging, right?
Yeah. So our head is like a TV. Now, some of y'all might have grew up rich and y'all might miss this. But I think for a lot of us, we can get it. Remember when you had the TV, or some of y'all might be too young for this too. The TV with the knob, right? You turn the knob to get to the channel. You know, you had all them channels that was fuzzy and it like,
Right.
and you can't see nothing. And then your mama went out and bought an antenna to hook up. Now, sometimes you had to move the antenna around. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you had to turn the knob and spin it around. Sometimes you had to put a little aluminum foil on it, do all that type of stuff, right? But sometimes when you get that antenna, all of a sudden, those channels start getting clear.
Right.
So right now, we all walking around with the, you know, right. Gotta be 80s baby or older for sure. Gotta be. You gotta be to get that. You're right. And so right now, that's how we are operating. The ibori is like getting an antenna. And then the more you do the ibori, the more it's like adjusting the antenna where the pictures start getting clearer and clearer and clearer, right? Because we always say that your destiny and purpose is a choice you have to make twice. You make it first in the spiritual realm before you get here, and then you have to choose it again once you get here. Now, in order to like O'Shea said earlier, to remember, you got to clear that fog up. And that's why we do iboris. But my dream game has been sick lately.
That's what's we got a question.
Okay.
So tell us what the feeding of the items does for the ori. It depends. If you believe that all things are energy, which I believe that all things are energy, and that the way that we are able to differentiate one thing from another is that all of these energies have different frequencies. They're vibrating at different frequencies. Those frequencies are signatures. Now, I'm of the belief that everything is energy, that all energy vibrates at different frequencies, and that energy attracts energies like themselves. So this is the reason why we offer things like honey. Honey has a sweet signature. It has a sweet frequency. And so that goes out into that signature, that energy signature goes out into the universe, attract energies like itself and bring it back to the source, which is you. The same thing with water. We're looking for clarity. We're looking for smooth emotions. We're looking for adaptability, those types of things. When we're talking about the other elements, we are looking for very specific things. Those things have very specific energy signatures, and those things go out into the universe and attract energies like itself and bring it back to you. Right. Now, there are a wide range of other things that could be used. You see people using fish and fruit and all kinds of things to offer to their ori, and they all mean something. Tuning your frequencies. That's exactly what you're doing. And keep in mind that there's some things that must happen internally as well. Our Luo always told us that the greatest ritual and the first ritual is changing the way you think, speak, and act. You can have a desire for something and not have your intention set correctly. So from my perspective, desires are energies kept under pressure. And then our intentions direct those energies out into the universe, into the things that we want to attract to us and to have happen. So yes, definitely it's adjusting your frequencies. And this is why alchemy must take place. Emotional alchemy, spiritual alchemy, psychological alchemy, those things.
And that's Obu Farah, the alchemy. But like Ocean was saying, we give like for like. It's the law of reciprocity. You got to give to receive. You know, right? Now, one of the things, like you mentioned desire, right? Sometimes you can have desire for the wrong things, but desire is important. If you don't have desire, you don't get anything.
Necessary.
Eshu is the child of wisdom and desire, right? Orumala and Oshun, right? And so desire is important, but when you give these things to your ori, you will also get to a place where your desires begin to then be aligned with what it is that is in alignment with your destiny and purpose. Right? So one of the things that we ask when we divine, when somebody said, hey, should I take this job? The way we would ask the question is this beneficial to and in alignment with their destiny and purpose? Right? And so, because again, you want everything to be in alignment with your destiny and purpose to make sure that you're moving in the way that you need to be moving to. Everything ain't for everybody. Right. And so, again, it's about bringing the head and the heart in alignment so that the eyes and the feet are pointing in the same direction. All right. You're not gonna really go far if your eyes is that way and your feet that way. That's a bad look, right? Right. Are all iboris under the same Odu? I'm not quite sure what that means. The Ori is under, you find Ori under a lot of Odus.
In almost all of them. If we're talking about big picture, Ori is present in all the Odu, just as Eshu is present in all of the Odu.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're asking about the Odus, the specific Odus that are chanted, then yes, there will be some difference between how we do it and how someone from a Lukumi house may do it, or how someone who would say that they are Isheshe may do it. We do it the way we were taught in our lineage, and that's how we do our Iboris. And our Iboris are, for lack of a better term, basic, so that all of us can participate. So this is a beautiful thing. But let's talk about.
Well, hold on, we got another question.
All right.
So the thing that I probably would differ with, or even me and my brother would differ with a lot of people. So the question is, usually head rogations are Iwori Egutan, to clarify. See, when you have things like usually, I hear religion, right? So we got to be careful when we get into those spaces of saying this is how this is done all the time, right? Or this is how this should be done.
Iwori Egutan. I think we've used that. I'm almost positive. Iwori Egutan. Now, see, now you gonna make me. I think Iwori Egutan is the one that talks about the head of the madman, though, and yeah.
I mean, so like for instance, we make baths, we make soaps, we make a couple of oils. We chant different Odus based upon what it is we're making. But we chose the Odus that we particularly like, right? That to us speak to what it is that we're trying to do. There's a lot of Odus that you can use.
Okay, so Ogunda Iwori talks about the madman is holding a knife, a cutlass, cursing and pursuing people. And
okay, so he talked about the head rogation. But the Ori was born in Ethiopia.
Right.
And so, you know what I'm saying? So different people could do things different ways. He said, Iwori Egutan is where Ochosi fought a leopard and died. I never knew there was unique Odu, so I like your explanation. There's other Odus that will talk specifically about head cleansing.
Right.
That we've actually, chanted those Odus when we've done, Iboris. So yeah, as long as what you're doing resonates, you're good to go.
And see, I think that's the part that people miss, and I think we've allowed what we call tradition to stop progress, where we get into this dogmatism and we are less concerned with what works am more concerned with is this how it's supposed to be done? Uh, I am a utilitarian. I and my brother as well. We are utilitarians. We use what works, and if it works, we're willing to use it. Uh, Now I may ask some questions about why it works, or I may ask some questions about why do you think it works? Um, but if it works, man, I'm all about using it. I don't care what you call it. You could I don't care. You could call it Ifa. You could call it Vodou. You could call it whatever Hoodoo. You could call it whatever you want. You could call it
Mm-hmm.
Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. But if it works, I'm definitely willing to use it. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
works.
So to go back to what he was saying, in Iwe Fun Odu Ifa, when the Odu Iwori Ogun does talk about it being for head cleansing, the Odu says Iwori that is hard as a rock, divine for Ori, when going to clean Ogunda's head. He cleans Eda's head. Eda's head becomes perfectly clean.
Mm.
It was Iwori who cleans Ogunda's head for good. Iwori, he cleans Emo's head. Emo's head becomes spotlessly clean. It was Iwori who cleans Ogunda's head for good. Iwori. Who will clean my head? Subtle Ide cleaner. Ifa will clean my head for me. Subtle Ide cleaner. We've had Iwori where we did chant that Odu, but then we made it our own and was like, you know what? This is kind of how we're gonna go and do things. Hell, I've watched our Luo divine or do a ritual, and then for forever, and then 1 week I watch, and then I start like basically talking with him because I know what he's gonna say, and then he don't say what I know he's gonna say. Like
Right.
he don't do it no more.
Right.
And then I remember one time, we asked him like, "Hey, what happened to this part?" Yeah, I just felt like doing it like this tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I might go back to doing it. You know what I'm saying? But again, that's why we got to get out of that. I had a client hit me up one time and was like, "Hey, I really need to drop the obi, but I don't have a white cloth." I said, and like, what do? I said, drop the obi without the white cloth.
Right.
And it was like, but I thought I needed a white cloth. Well, it's good to have it. But if you ain't got it, you got a question you got to ask, then drop the obi wherever you at.
Right. There's some dynamism. There's some dynamism that must take place. There's some innovation that must take place. And see, this has me thinking about arguments that I be wanting to get into, and I let that I let pass because I understand that people's emotions are involved. Sometimes people's livelihoods are involved, and it's like, why can Ifa leave the shores of West Africa and go to Cuba and be different? Leave the shores of West Africa and go to Brazil and be different. Go to the Caribbean and be different. But when it touches the shores of America, it somehow needs to be either Lukumi or Isheshe. How come it can't change and be its own thing when it touches the shores of America? Like what is it that can't be changed here on our soil where our ancestors toiled? My ancestors toiled here and made African spirituality their own. Now, of course, our lineage goes back to Nigeria. So ours is more what people would call Isheshe. So there has to be some innovation. There has to be some nuance and an ability to do things. This is why we chant Oturapon Meji. This is our purpose for chanting Oturapon Meji. The Odu Ifa says that my ritual doesn't have to be like yours. The Odu Ifa says that. That's not me saying it. That's not me just making up rituals, which if we keeping it above, all rituals are made up. They just consist of certain elements that we was just talking about. They consist of certain frequencies and energies. But yeah, those type of arguments I try to stay out of, because you're practicing, uh, and for me, you have dogmatism. There's a lot of dogma in the way that you have to do things this way or that. And for me, as long as it works and the Odu Ifa, and at the end of our
Mm-hmm.
at the end of our ritual, when we ask Ifa if our ritual was accepted or not, like we was told, uh if Ifa says yes, then we say Ashe.
Right, right. Sometimes I practice Ishe, and sometimes I practice whatever I say.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It just depends. You know, I ran out
Right.
of the Erosu powder. I went and got yam flour.
Right.
You know, I started using that. You know, it was a post that we saw on social media somewhere. Somebody was like, "Man, you know, E5 so expensive. You got to get palm oil. You got to get this. You ain't got to get that." And the
Right.
Nigerians, the Yoruba people got what they had around their house.
Man.
So all you have to do is find the things that energetically resonate or have the same energetic expression as whatever you're trying to convey. And if you find that, use that.
Right.
That's all. Like the Yoruba people didn't climb to some mountaintop and in there they found a cache of palm oil and Erosu powder and palm nuts. They used what was around them.
Right.
Man, listen, I went to Nigeria 6 years ago. The Nigerians treat the palm tree like black folks treat the pig. We using every ounce of it.
Right.
It ain't no piece of the pig that is getting thrown away. We eating the guts, we eating the hooves, we eating the nose, and everything in between. That palm tree, they using the leaves for the roof, they using the leaves to sweep, they using the what we call the king of the palm nuts, they getting palm oil from that. They using the broken ones to fill potholes. And then you obviously have the use of it as the king, a divining tool, whatever. And so they're using every ounce of it. But it's because palm trees is everywhere there.
Right.
You know, and so we gotta use what we gotta use.
Right.
Now, thank God, you know, there's a lot of African, well, I ain't gonna say thank God, it really don't matter, I guess. But I happen to live in Houston. There are African stores everywhere. So I can go get me palm oil and stuff like that. But if I needed it, if I was in a hurry and I needed something, I couldn't get to something, I can go to the store and get some corn oil to do the same thing. You know, like I said, I use yam flour to print the Odu. You know, if I ain't had no honey, but I got some maple syrup or some agave, I know y'all eat Eggo, so y'all got some Aunt Jemima. You know what I'm saying? Use the Aunt Jemima to get the sweetness of life, the joy of life, the dance of life.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, we got to be able to adapt. I think Obatala, who in the myth is said to be the father of all of the Orisha, is, at least from my perspective, all about adaptability. Definitely about adaptability, which is why the chameleon is one of his animal totems. Adaptability is, we have to be able to adapt. There's no one can tell me that I have to have something. No, nobody can tell me that you have to have this or this wasn't done right. You have to have that or this wasn't done right. If I said I did it right, if I said yes after I asked was my offering accepted, was this ritual accepted? If I said yes, so nobody else can tell me no. They don't have the same herbs in Nigeria as they have in Cuba. They don't have the same herbs in Nigeria as they have in Brazil. Adaptations had to be made. Innovations had to be made. They don't have cola nut in Cuba, so they use the coconut.
Right.
So they use the coconut to divine. Now, would would somebody from Nigeria go to Cuba and say, "No, y'all doing that all wrong. You're supposed to be using a cola nut." Not from my experience, not from the stories that Malu has told me about traveling through
Mhm.
different villages in Nigeria and things being done differently. The only people that cry about things being different are us. That's
Right.
it. And most of the time, it has to do with, at least for me, I'm skeptical of almost everybody. So anytime you get to talking about this is the way you have to do it, I'm always thinking there's some money involved. It's always some money involved. So it's always, you trying to funnel everybody to you and get some money. What's old boy's name? The preacher that be saying you ain't supposed to be paying the preacher?
I don't know.
Jennings. You don't know who I'm talking about?
Oh, you talking about? Is that the dude who always be talking about TD Jakes? He an older black man.
Yeah, and all of them. You saying you're not supposed to be paying. You're not supposed to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
paying your
yeah,
preacher. Your preacher is supposed to work.
yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, he go hard. He go hard.
Yeah.
But again, just for those who may just be chiming in or checking in with us, we are having our next monthly ibori on June 15th. From what I understand now, that's Father's Day.
That's Father's Day.
At 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I don't know what time that might be where you live,
Yes, sir, Jorge.
but it's Central Standard Time, right? And we are going to feed our Orees every month. We are going to do this monthly. We've been doing it monthly for 4 or 5 months, 6 months, something like that. But we're going to do it every month. And this month we're doing it June 15th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm from Ohio, so I do know that's 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That's all I got for you. I can't tell you what that is in California and anywhere else.
All right.
But so tap in with it. Like I said, we're doing it every month. If you want to join, there's 2 steps. A, send us an email at wmyp@yahoo.com. You can hit us in the DM, whether you follow us on IG or Facebook or TikTok. Let us know that you're gonna join us, and then the cost is $16, and you can make that via Zelle at Who Made Y'all Priest. I mean, I'm sure no, not Who Made Y'all Priest at WMYP@yahoo.com. So Zelle at WMYP@yahoo.com or Cash App at
$ AWO AWO 42721.
yes, what he said.
Northwest Indiana, Chicago area over here. Jorge, man, we appreciate you checking in with us. He said, I use plants that grow wild from my backyard and it works just as good.
So,
that
Jorge, I'm glad
was
you mentioned that.
right, because that was one of the things that our Luo taught us, that everything you need grows right where you are.
Yeah, I made a spiritual bath. I made an omiero one time, and I took like a little container and walked around, like went to my backyard, my front yard, and I got like this little wooded area, like in my subdivision. Went through there and grabbed all the herb from there and created an omiero out of that. And I cleaned some of my implements in that, and what I'm saying, bathed in it. So absolutely. See, it don't cost money to do all the things. You just gotta know a little something and use a little of that common sense, and then you are able to move around how you need to. But yeah, absolutely. So like I said, tap in with us on Instagram and TikTok, and that way you'll be able to keep up to date whenever we're going to do a ibori for that month. We're going to post it there, so it'll be a reel, it'll be on our stories and that whole nine. What we might start doing for people who tap in with us, let us know through email. We might keep like an email blast and send it out monthly at some point, just to kind of keep people to date that way as well. But before we get out of here, anybody got any questions? Anybody got any last minute questions about
You on here
anything?
with us? We see you on here with us, Ia. Ia with us on IG.
Ia who? We know about 1,000 years.
No, we're talking about Naya Shalom.
Oh,
Ia Winnie. Where you from, Ia? She's either in Georgia, Alabama.
why she didn't want that out there?
Oh man. Nah, she posts all kind of stuff on
I
her.
know where she from. We had this conversation on TikTok the other day.
Yeah.
In the inbox. But she might not want that to be known. You know what I'm saying?
No,
she might
man.
have before she was an ear, she might have been in them streets. Might have people looking for her. You know what I'm saying?
See, Augusta, Georgia. See, she posted it for the whole world to see. Man, she always posted.
Okay.
I be checking out her graphics and her offerings and all the things that she offers. And she's always talking about where she's at, man. Nah, she's very out there. I wish we could post as much as she does. Like she's consistent with posting for real. Like
We
I mean,
can. You gotta focus. You gotta be dedicated.
I see her on TikTok every day. I see her on TikTok answering questions with video responses like all the time.
Yeah, we could do that too. We just gotta get focused.
Nah, I be at work.
And
Thank you for chiming in with us. Thank you for everything. She say pimping wasn't easy. Thank you too. I am living third eye. We thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Last minute, before we get out of here, anybody got any last, any questions? I've been trying to get, my beauty rest. So I ain't been going to bed as early as my brother is, but I've been trying to get in there.
Yeah, see, she said it's her full-time gig, man.
Is ibori for when we are having issues? Yes, it's for when we having issues. It's when we ain't having issues. It's when we happy. It's for when we sad. It's when we mad. It's when we glad. It's when we frustrated. It's when we excited. Ibori is like going to the gym and working out. It's a lifestyle, right? That's why we offer it monthly. It is something that we should be doing on a constant and consistent basis in order to be in alignment with our higher selves, right? And so, again, it's all about reducing anxiety. It's about bringing clarity, reducing stress, all those things. So, yeah, if ibori is for when you're having issues, and it's for when you ain't having issues.
Right. And you know what's crazy is that would be some people that would disagree with us because they'll say, no, for you to get an ibori, a hair rogation, a head cleansing, it has to come down in a divination. And again, that's when I started thinking about money. I started automatically thinking about money is like, come on, man. This is bigger than Orisha. This is even bigger than ancestors. This is bigger than ancestors when we're talking about Ori and the process of going through an ibori. Like my brother just said, these can be done anytime. They can be done anytime and for anything.
Yeah. It that is the most important relationship that you have. More important than our earthly relationships, more important than relationships with any other spirit, right? That our Ori is with us from the time we take our first breath to the time we take our last. So think about it like this. How often are you with your boyfriend or girlfriend? How often you got to talk to them to see them? How often do you see your wife? How often do you see your kids? You know what I'm saying? Think about all that. And this relationship is more important than all of those combined. Right? Now, no, you don't have to go to it every day. That's why we have it offered monthly. That is enough to really strengthen your connection. Right? Because think about all the decisions that you made that have gone well for you. And you was doing that shooting blind. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I said earlier, we was raw dogging life. Now we ain't got to anymore, right?
Right.
Mm. So last call for questions before we get out of here. It's already past my brother bedtime.
Yeah, Ia say she does regular cleansings as well.
Yeah. I took a spiritual bath the other day. Let me tell you how powerful the spiritual bath was. The spiritual bath was so dope. I had my herbs in the big bowl. I hadn't even put that in the water yet. I put a little other something in the water, right? I had my effoon. I had a couple of oils in there, and I put some honey in there. And I go put my arm in there to, move it around counterclockwise to get all that stirred up in there. And just doing that, I said, "Oh, this bath will be special."
But was it better than that spiritual bath that we took at our Lave Ted though?
Nah, there was some weed in that bath. it was some weed or some cocaine.
You're right.
It was a little, it might have been some cocaine in that because I was a little high. I ain't even gonna lie.
Yeah, that was definitely the best, and by far too, the best spiritual bath that I've ever taken was when we did our Lave Ted.
That's a good question. It says, is Ori strictly like mental, cerebral, logical thinking, or is it like mental, spiritual, all encompassing?
Ooh, let's talk about that. That's
So Ori is literally consciousness, right? Your Ori is like your survival instincts. It's your senses, right? It's how you know that you're sitting here right now on YouTube listening to us. Here's the magic with Ori. When you feed your Ori, because see, a lot of times we say Ori, but we not really talking about Ori.
Man.
We talking about Ori and Nu, or we talking about Ipanri, and we just simply say Ori.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the confusion.
That's the confusion, because sometimes you talking about attributes, like you talking about Ori, you're either talking about your subconscious, you talking about the mystery. No, that's your Ori and Nu. So what happens is when you feed your Ori, your consciousness, right? So it broadens your awareness, but what it also does, it clears the connection between your Ori and your Ipanri, which is like your higher self. This is how I always explain Ipanri. I say Ipanri is like Jesus that just never came down in physical form. So all the things that you think about, what you heard about Jesus, we all got a Jesus. Our Jesus just didn't come and die for our sins. Our Jesus was like, no, we gonna be up here shouting out directions, but in order to hear that like you need to, you got to clear up that connection between your Ori and your Ipanri. Right. And so when you have those two fired on one cylinder, it's all what you just talked about. It's mental, it's cerebral, it's logical, it's like spiritual. It's all of that in one.
Right. It's intuitive. It's all of it. I think. So for me, the Ori is a complex. It's something that exists that's composed of several parts that's all working interdependently. Like my brother just said, a lot of times we use the term Ori when we are really meaning Ori Inu. Idimeji tells us what Ori is. And Ori is all of your senses and your sensory organs, your mouth, your tongue, your nose, your eyes. That's what Ori is. Ori is the vehicle that we use to navigate our physical realm. Without Ori, we would not be able to operate here. Now, when we talk about Ori Inu is that inner consciousness, or what Western psychology would call the subconscious. That's our inner awareness. This is where our intuition lies, where our true desires lie. It's also where our destiny lies. So like my brother just said, when we do the ibori, we are making we are attempting to make an alignment between our Ori Inu, and our Ipanri, and that's when we find ourselves on the path that leads to the manifestation of our destiny. At some point, we'll come on here and talk about, does the destiny that we chose always look like? Does it look like we want it to look? Does it mean we're gonna like it? Because I don't think we do. I don't think that you're always gonna like the choice that you made while in the spirit realm. And I think many people run from it for that reason. Is because that's not what I want to do. Like, I don't really want to do that.
Right. And that's the reason why in divination we can't tell you. Well, I ain't gonna say just now we can't tell you. We can't see everything, because if we tell you everything, you might be like, oh man, hell no. See, in divination, we might be able to tell you, hey, there's this abundance coming from a job that you're going to be offered. You should take it, right? And then you like 2 days later, you get offered that job, right? Now, what we couldn't tell you, because your Ori didn't show it, is that you're going to hate that damn job.
Right.
At least at first. But you're supposed to take it anyway. If we tell you should take the job, but you're going to hate it, like, you're going to be miserable. Like, I'm telling you, like, for the first 2 years, you're going to be like, what the heck? Like, spirit ain't going to show us that. Because if you knew that, then you ain't going to take the gig. Because then come year 3, it's everything that you wanted and then some.
Right.
Right. So, I guess it's Steven 32. Did we answer your question? Did that make sense, what we said? But yeah, man, we hope to see y'all at the ibori. You know, because again, I don't think there's a more important, well, outside of maybe Ishefa and Tefa, I don't think there's a more important ritual that you can do. Mm-hmm. You know, so yeah, we're gonna post this so you know people who didn't see it could see it, and you can replay it. Tap in with us. If you hear it through YouTube, tap in with us on our IG. Yeah, who made y'all priests? Ain't that what it is?
With our IG, I think it's who.made.y'all.priest.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Man, I'm so bad. I'm gonna figure. Oh, and then IG is who made y'all priests.
No, that's what IG is. Who.made.
I mean, not. That's what I meant. TikTok.
Oh.
TikTok is who made y'all priests.
11.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, that's what had me confused. Well, all right, family. We appreciate y'all for tapping in with us. Man, when we got on here, get ready to do this, we said we're gonna be here probably about 40 minutes and be out. And that's what we get for talking too much. But man, we appreciate y'all, family, man. We love y'all. You know what I'm saying? We'll check y'all next time. Ibori, June 15th, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Tap in. Peace.